Did your father marry you off for money? What happened on your first night? Do you think you lived your childhood?
But it wasn't a wedding for me. It was like a funeral for me. I gave birth to a son, but I was not a mother. I was just a child who gave birth to a child.
In the new episode of Can't Ask, we are with Zainab. She is a child bride. Hello, Zainab.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about yourself?
My name is Zainab. I'm 22 years old. I am a child bride. I am studying right now. I am also working. I am trying to move on with my life. That's it in a nutshell.
At what age and how were you married off?
I was married off at the age of 12. It's like this. My parents decided to move abroad with my own mother. Of course, we, as their children, went with them and moved to another country. In that country, my parents had already had problems since childhood. Since I can remember, they had a severe disagreement. My father was constantly inflicting physical violence against my mother. I saw him holding a knife to my mother's throat many times. I witnessed him beating her until the morning. They decided to separate there. My parents separated. My mother went back to Turkey. I started living there alone with my father. And with my brother. 3 of us were living alone in the same house. I took care of my father and my brother alone for 2 years. I was 10 years old when my parents divorced. Until I was 12, I was trying to take care of my father and my brother. Or rather, I couldn't. I was trying to do the best I could. I was sending my brother to school. I was trying to cook things. I was trying to take care of the house as a child. My father decided to marry a woman. Of course, I didn't know about it then. When my father got married, he made an agreement with her family. He would give me to the brother of the woman he married, and my father will marry the sister of the man I married. So it's kind of like a swap. They got married. Then we started living with the woman. She is always manipulating my father. She badmouths us. My father is constantly abusing me and my younger brother. The woman started to come and ask me, "Do you get your period?" I wasn't getting my period at that time. A few months passed and one day I got my period. She came up to me. She was very happy. She says, "Oh, how nice you have your period." And I thought she was a well-meaning person. I thought she would be there for me, support me or something. It was the opposite. I got my period. After that, her brother and her family came to our house. They had gold, clothes, a solitaire ring. At that time, of course, these were things that meant nothing to me. I was 12 years old then, by the way. I was 12 and a half years old or something. Then my father called me to him. I still didn't know anything. The man I married, my father, me and the imam were in the room. The imam was speaking Arabic. I don't understand what he is saying at all. The man says something to me. I nod my head. I make a gesture of approval with my head. It turned out that the man was officiating my wedding at that time. Anyway, we left the room and we were engaged for a month or so. Then I got married. We had a wedding. I was only engaged for a month. I was 12 and a half years old then.
Did your father marry you off for money?
If I had been given in exchange for money, or even just for a few sheep, it wouldn't have hurt so much. I was given in exchange for a woman. My father gave me away to marry, how should I put it, just for his pleasure. So I was given for a woman.
How did you feel when you found out you were getting married?
I didn't know. That's why. I didn't feel anything until the wedding day.
How did you feel when you first realized you were married off?
I first realized I was married off on the wedding day. I was asleep when my father brought that wedding dress. When I woke up in the morning, there was the wedding dress in my room. The wedding dress on one side, the gold on the other. That stepmother, the woman my father was married to, took me to the bathroom and washed me. I don't know whether to say she cleaned me or prepared me. Then we went to the hairdresser. At that moment, I realized, I was seeing it on TV or attending weddings, I was becoming a bride. At that moment, I felt like a princess, but only for a few hours.
What happened on the first night?
What happened on my first night? Let me tell you a little bit about the wedding day. My wedding ended in the evening. I hugged my father and cried. I said, "Dad, take me home," because I saw that my dad was leaving. I hugged my father and cried. My father said, "You will not live with us anymore. They are your family," he told me. I started crying, of course. Then I got into the wedding car with the man he had forced me to marry. By the way, I want to say this. Things like weddings and being a bride are very beautiful concepts. But that was not a wedding for me. It was like a funeral for me. I got into the wedding car. I'm crying. I'm scared of the man next to me. I don't recognize him at all. I've never met him before. I don't know who he is, most importantly. I only know that he is my stepmother's brother. So he is my step-uncle. I went home with him. When I entered the house, I saw that they had decorated and prepared the room where I slept. They put a white sheet on my bed. Anyway, we went to the house where we lived, the house where I was. There they had decorated and arranged the room where I slept. In the room where I sleep, they put a white sheet on my bed, on the bed where I sleep. What happened the first night? I won't go into details, I'll just tell you what I felt. Pain. Just pain. And fear. By the way, this is not a relationship, a sexual intercourse, or lovemaking. This is rape. So no one can ever normalize this because we had a wedding. Because I went to bed with a man I didn't accept, a man I didn't know, a man I didn't realize I was married to. So this is rape. Brutality, what can I say? It ended in the hospital in the morning. I was bleeding a lot. And there was pain, a very big pain. I'm telling her mother, because in the morning they came back home. No one was home that night. It was just the two of us. I said I was in pain, I was crying. They took me to the hospital. I had stitches, by the way. I want to give details. I had stitches. They put in an IV drip or something. I stayed in the hospital that day. Then I came back home at night. Don't think that. Don't think they feel sorry for me because I'm sick. I went through the same things again that night with stitches.
How did you feel the first time you were alone with the person you were forced to marry?
Like this. I don't know who he is. I don't recognize him. I only know his name. And most importantly, I don't understand his language at all. He speaks. I nod. I answer, okay, yes, or something like that. I don't understand what he's saying. When we were married, he hit me when I didn't understand what he said. I don't understand him at all. He speaks a different language. I speak a completely different language. So I was afraid of him. Imagine a small child trying to deal with a man who speaks another language. The child gets scared, cries, runs away. I just felt something like that.
Did you experience violence from that person?
I experienced it many times, almost every day, because I didn't want to have sex. Because I made a small mistake. I'm speaking from his point of view now. When I made a mistake when I didn't want to have sex. Even for the tiniest mistake in my words, I was constantly punished and beaten. Sometimes it went beyond beatings. There was a time when he burned my hand on the stove. When I lived there, it was out of the question for me to open the curtains, open the window, or go out the door. Everything was forbidden to me. Once when he was asleep, I said I would get up and wash the curtain until he woke up so he wouldn't see it. I know that when he sees the curtain coming out, he will punish me. I know he will beat me. When he fell asleep, I took the curtain out. I threw it in the machine so that I could take it out quickly before he woke up and hang it directly. Shall I call it my bad luck? He woke up even before the machine stopped. He called me into the room. The curtains in my room were country style, so they were attached to a pipe. He took out the pipe and beat me with it for hours. Non-stop. Once he broke my finger and so on.
What was the age difference between you and that person?
There was not a big age difference between us, but he was of legal age, he was 18.
Did the person you were married to marry you willingly?
Well, of course we didn't have a relationship based on love, romance, or even a proper getting to know each other phase. They displayed me to him like I was a piece of clothing to be chosen, and he liked me. They asked him if he wanted me, in short. And he said, okay, that's it. He gave his consent. Yes, he consented to it.
So how did people around you react to this marriage?
The reaction of my own family, my mother and my uncles, was like this. They didn't know, because I had lost contact with my mother. When she and my father got divorced, my father wouldn't let us see my mother. And when my mom called, he would answer the phone and say things like, the kids don't want to talk to you. On the contrary, he was telling us things like, your mom doesn't call you, she doesn't want to talk to you. Because sometimes I would tell him that I wanted to speak to my mother. I would say I want to talk to my mom. I said I missed my mom. He was telling my mother that I didn't want to contact her, so of course he was lying. The reaction of the people around me was like this. Since in the country I was married off, this is considered quite normal. Marriages at 12, 10, even 8. I've even heard of girls getting married at the age of 8. On the contrary, they were congratulating me. They were happy for me, because for them it was already a normal, ordinary thing.
Did your education end after you were married off?
My education was already over when my mother left me. My father took me out of school to take care of him and my brother. So it was already over when I was married off.
Did you have children?
Yes, I did. When I was 14, I found out that I was pregnant. Well, of course I had my period regularly. 1 month I didn't. I didn't have my period for the second month, and I didn't know that you could be pregnant if you didn't have your period. My mother-in-law came to me and she said, there is something strange about you because I was nauseous and dizzy. I needed to sleep all the time. I had a headache. She asked me, something's wrong with you? Are you getting your period? I said, no, I don't. And she said, oh, how come you don't? They did a pregnancy test immediately. And that's when I found out I was 2.5 months pregnant. I was 14 years old.
How did you feel when you gave birth to a child as a child?
Well, actually, such things cannot be described in words. They can only be lived and experienced. What can I say? I went to the hospital. I was in labor. I gave birth. I gave birth to a baby boy. But I wasn't a mother, I was just a child who gave birth to a child. I felt very strange when I saw him. I wasn't happy, I wasn't sad. It was strange. He couldn't have come out of me. I couldn't have brought him into the world. I was looking at him strangely. I already see him crying in the incubator. When I see him crying, I cry too. I immediately thought, what am I going to do with this? That's what I was thinking. I was thinking about what I'm going to do. Then the nurse brought him to my lap to breastfeed him. How am I going to breastfeed him? How am I going to take care of him? Who is this, really? Did I give birth to this? It's a strange feeling. As I said, it cannot be described, it can only be experienced. I felt fear again. I felt an immense pain again. Nothing else.
Did you try to escape?
Yes, I tried to escape. I ran away and I succeeded. I was already being subjected to violence all the time. I knew that this was not normal, that I didn't have to put up with it. I didn't have to continue my life like that. No woman has to either. I don't have to stand next to a man who beats me, a man who inflicts violence on me, psychological violence, who doesn't love me, who scolds me. No one else has to stand it either, be it a woman or a man. Besides, I had no one I knew there. I was not in contact with my father anyway. My father didn't call me. He didn't worry about me at all. He never said things like, "Did something happen to you? Your eye is purple, your lip is bleeding. What's going on, my daughter? What happened to you?" He didn't ask questions like that. Of course, I had no one, no supporters. I decided to run away. And I was 15 years old when I ran away. Of course, I had a cell phone at that time. When they bought me a phone, their aim was just to show off. To say to people, "Look, our daughter-in-law has the latest model phone, but there is no SIM card in my phone." One night when he was asleep, I hacked into the phone of that man I was married to at that time. At that time, I had heard that there was a Turkish consulate in the country where I lived. I was searching for it on the internet. I took their number and wrote it down on a piece of paper. After that, a few days passed. I secretly took my mother-in-law's phone and I called that number. I explained the situation and said so and so. They told me that I need to reach them somehow. The people I talked to were Turks. I was thinking, how will I go there? Because I don't have permission to go out. I don't have money, I have gold, lots of it, but I don't have my passport, ID, or SIM card. I was thinking, how am I going to leave? What will I do? Then the man I was married to told me, "Let me marry you in Turkey so I can get Turkish citizenship." He didn't know that in our country it's illegal. You can't marry an underage girl. I said, okay. Because it is done at the consulate, I said, we'll go there. I said it would be better for me. We decided to go there. We went there. He thinks I will marry him there. And then we'll go back home. There were Turkish soldiers at the gate. I will never forget that moment. I looked into the eyes of that Turkish soldier with fear and quietly said, "Please let me in." He let me in, thank God. Then I went inside and talked to the head of the consulate. I explained the situation from beginning to end. Thank God he helped me. He prepared a temporary pass for me, even though I didn't have a passport. They gave me money. They bought me a SIM card. I can never forget the kindness they showed me for the rest of my life. Because they could have been a bigoted person. He could have told me to go back to my husband. He could have said, "There is nothing I can do for you." Because that is not his duty. He is the head of the consulate there. He takes care of the entrances and exits. He didn't have to protect me. He didn't have to help me. Then he told me that since this is not our country, unfortunately, I cannot provide you with a soldier, a bodyguard, or an authorized person. They called me a taxi to the consulate, and the man I was married to was waiting at the door of the consulate. The head of the consulate said, "I will call him to me. When I call him to me, you will leave my room." There was a door in his room, an exit door, an emergency exit door. He said, "You will go out that door and take a taxi, running. Don't show yourself to anyone. Don't let anyone see you run away." When the taxi arrived, I ran and got into the taxi. The consulate had already warned the taxi driver beforehand. They told him not to stop until he takes me to the border. They had warned him that if there was a problem, he should call the consulate. They had paid the taxi driver. That's how it was. Then I took a taxi. There was a roadblock. A roadblock with the police there, of course. They asked me where I was going. I have no ID, no passport. I only have a temporary pass. He asked me, "Where are you going?" I said, "My mother is sick. I need to return to Turkey urgently." Since my passport and identity card were missing, I said I would go only with a temporary pass. They said, "No, you cannot pass. Now we will call your husband. We will call him here." They told me that I was not allowed to go out of the border without his permission, without him. I was left powerless. I sat in a corner and started crying helplessly. I called the head of the consulate. I said, "This is what the man says to me. He says I can't go. He says that he will call my husband. What should I do?" He said, "Calm down, don't cry, wait in a corner, wait for my call." He had already warned me before I left not to say anything to anyone. He told me, "If anyone asks, just say my mother is sick and I'm going to Turkey urgently to see her." Afterwards, he managed to call some people and bring them into the matter. To get me through the checkpoint without calling the man I was married to. I passed and then I came to the border. The taxi driver went back. I was alone there. I was looking everywhere for a bus. You know, a bus to Turkey? They had already told me before I left the consulate. Just find a car going to Turkey, you know, to Diyarbakir, to Izmir, to Istanbul, to Ankara. It doesn't matter at all. Just try to get to Turkey, they said. After that, they said you will reach your mother anyway. I found a bus to Turkey. I got on it directly. So it took me 2 days, 3 days to reach my mother. For 3 days I was hungry, I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. Because I didn't sleep that night before I left home. So I was sleepless for 4 days. I was scared on the road too, I couldn't sleep. I was thinking, will he come? Will he turn up somewhere? Or, I don't know, he might report me, have me arrested, do something, I couldn't sleep on the road. I got to Turkey after 4 days without sleeping, eating, or having any money. But as I said, in the end I succeeded, I won.
Did you divorce the person you were forced to marry?
First of all, I ran away from him, so there was no uncontested divorce. I ran away from him. Not long after I went back to Turkey, he attempted to come to Turkey as well. He was going to try to harm me. He came, and then I reported him. I called the police. We were taken to the police station. I told the incident from beginning to end. First of all, I filed a complaint. Of course, nothing was done. Unfortunately, nothing is done. He was just deported. And that's when we got divorced.
Have you ever thought about suicide?
Yes, I tried to commit suicide twice. Well, I was 16, 17 years old when I tried to commit suicide. So it was a couple of years ago. I wish I hadn't. But at that time, I couldn't stand it, of course, and I was going through puberty. I had gone through such a trauma, and on top of that, I was having a difficult adolescence. I didn't want to live anymore because I had nothing to hold on to. I had no school left, no childhood left, no life left, no psychology left. I mean, there was no me left. There was no such thing as me then. I didn't want to live. I was seeing people my age. I would see a girl crying in her room for hours because her mother wouldn't buy her a pair of shoes. Or a boy acts out towards his father or mother because his wishes weren't fulfilled. My life is completely different, and I am not a person who rebels. I'm not a person who lets their feelings show on the outside. Most of the time, I try to process everything inside. I guess I kept everything inside me way too much during those times. I couldn't take it anymore, I couldn't bear it. I couldn't think as rationally as I do now. I tried to commit suicide twice. As I said, I wish I hadn't. But thank God I'm alive now. So doing something like that would have been giving up anyway. I'm glad nothing happened to me. I am stronger now. I regret doing it, of course. I wish I hadn't done it, but I couldn't stop myself.
Do you think you were able to live your childhood?
Of course not. What does it mean to be a child? What does childhood mean? What does it mean to be spoiled? What's a toy? I don't know any of that. Sometimes my friends talk about their childhood memories. Those scenes come to my mind. I freeze, I get silent. So, of course I don't. I never lived my childhood. I was never a child. I was born a woman.
How is your relationship with your family? Do you keep in touch?
I don't see my father or anyone on my father's side. Right now, I call him my father solely in order to refer to him. There is no such thing as a father for me. Well, let's say I'm trying to convince myself that he doesn't exist.
Does your father regret forcing you into marriage?
Absolutely not. Would it change anything for me if he regretted it? Of course not. What's done is done. So what happened to me, actually. So what if he regrets it or not? That's how it is for me, but honestly, I'm still shocked on a personal level. I mean, whether I'm her daughter or just a complete stranger, I can't wrap my head around what he did. It's beyond my understanding and mindset. I mean, how did he do it? Or why doesn't he regret it now? I met my father once after I ran away. I never created that opportunity for him, but when I was about 16, 17, during those dark times when I tried to commit suicide, I needed to release my anger. I found his phone number somewhere, and I called him. I started talking to him. I'm sobbing uncontrollably while telling everything nonstop. This is what happened to me. I was beaten and abused for days and hours. I cannot pull myself together right now. I have nothing to hold on to. I said things like these. This is what he told me. If I hadn't married you off then, you would be a whore now. That's just it. I don't even know how to explain it because the person who did those things to you back then, who made you go through all that, is now talking like this. I have never met him again, heard his voice, or heard any news from anywhere else. I mean, if I saw him walking down the street right now, I would probably spit in his face. Maybe not even spit in his face. I wouldn't even turn my head in that direction, I would just go on my way. Because there is no such person for me.
Do you keep in touch with your child?
No, I don't. I even find it weird to say my child right now. As I said, I am not a mother. I couldn't be a mother anyway. I was just a child who gave birth to a child. When I escaped, I had to leave him, unfortunately, because there was no possibility for me to escape with him. I would have been caught. I would have been killed, and I would have been separated from the child. He would be left without a mother. Unfortunately, I couldn't take him with me. But in the future, when I become stronger both financially and psychologically, I plan to take him with me somehow. I won't leave him in their hands.
How do you feel when you see women the same age as you who have studied and have a job?
I envy them a lot. I really do. I mean, I obviously don't reveal it to others, neither my friends nor my colleagues. Nobody knows what I went through. Why do I hide it? This is definitely not because I'm ashamed, avoiding it, or trying to hide it. I just don't want anyone to look at me with pity. Because I am a really strong person. Inevitably, if I say something, I'm sure I'll get responses like, "Oh no, I feel so sorry for you," or "Oh, poor you." That's why I prefer not to say it. But I really envy their lives. I wish I were a girl who just went to school and came back home to a mother who cooked for her, studying late into the night. Let me tell you something. When my father pulled me out of school, they gave my school clothes to the neighbor's daughter. I cried and went to the neighbor's door asking, "Could you please give me back my clothes?" And they gave them back to me. Then my father beat me up. Why? Because I asked for my clothes back. So, I'll give you a little advice. I mean, what people think is so simple, so small, can be someone else's dream. So cherish your life.
Did you get psychological support to overcome your trauma?
No, I didn't. I recovered on my own. My psychology is also a bit strong, so this event did not destroy me. Of course, as I said, the periods when I attempted suicide were very difficult periods. After that, I tried to get over it on my own over time. Don't I have such a trauma now? Of course I do. I still have nightmares at night. I mean, even just a few years ago, I was looking at every man as a savage. I thought that every man could hurt me.
What did your experiences take away the most from you?
My experiences took everything away from me. They took away my psychology. They took away my school. They took away my family. They took away my joy for life. They took away my hopes. And the fact that the person who caused this is your first-degree relative is unbearable at first. So I think I have recovered myself now. Have I taken back all that they took? No, of course not. I see most people now as capable of harming me. My education was taken away from me. I am currently continuing education through distant learning, but of course, I no longer have the chance to sit and study until the morning and go to school with my friends. He took them away from me. Most importantly, he took away my joy for life. Even though I have it back now, with my own strength and power. Of course, my life is not the same as someone who has never lived this life. Maybe I will have nightmares at night until I die. I still continue to have them. I still can't sleep with someone, whether it's a man or a woman.
What was your biggest dream before you were forced into marriage?
I didn't have a dream. I mean, childish dreams. I wanted to be a princess. I don't know. I wanted to be a singer or something ridiculous like that. I don't have any childhood dreams, like I said, but the person I want to be in the future, I really want to study and become a lawyer. I want to study law. I hope to support some young girls or women going through similar circumstances as I did. I hope to give them a totally different life to the best of my ability. That's all. I would like to be a lawyer in the future.
If the person you were married off to were here now, what would you say?
First of all, I would laugh at him. Then I would say, I won. Your beating me didn't get you anywhere. Your physical strength didn't get you anywhere.
What advice would you give to girls in your situation?
No woman, no man has to stand in a place where they are subjected to violence, psychological violence, where they are hated, scolded, and despised. My advice is not to stay in a place where they are not loved, where they are not comfortable, because you don't have to live a life you don't want. If you are being forced into marriage, as I said, call for help at the police station, gendarmerie, hospital, a state institution, any state institution. As I said, getting married, especially as a child, is not a cure for anything. On the contrary, it will ruin your life. Instead of giving into it, try to stand up against it. Stay strong, stand up, never give up. Goodness is stronger than evil, I assure you.